Hello students, welcome to the online teaching learning process of subject microprocessor. So we are in the first unit, that is 8086 16-bit microprocessor. Today's our topic is pin description of 8086 microprocessor. So basically, as you can see on the top left hand side, any microprocessor IC has number of pins on it. Basically, what is IC? IC is an integrated circuit. It is a small chip on which our circuitry is loaded. So it consists of various pins, and each pin performs different functions. So we have to see the pin description of each and every pin of 8086, because each pin will perform different functions. So let's get into the topic. So the learning outcome includes, first we will study the pin diagram of 8086 microprocessor, and then we will step into pin description of 8086 microprocessor. POs mapped are PO1, PO4, PO6 and PO7. So coming to pin diagram of 8086. So basically 8086 is a 40 pin IC. That means 8086 has total 40 pins on it. 20 on left side and 20 on right side. So this is the pin diagram of 8086. So as you can see, there are 20 pins on the left hand side, 1 to 20, and 20 pin on the right hand side. Each pin will perform different functions. Every pin will have unique function. That means no two pins will perform the same function. Now, how to decide the number of pins on any IC? The IC which has minimum number of pins on it. Okay, the IC which has minimum number of pins on it is more efficient than the IC which has more number of pins. That means if the number of pins on IC are 2, it will perform much more efficiently than the IC that has 10 pins or more number of pins. So in order to reduce, because 8086 is a microprocessor, it is a processor which will perform all the processing related actions. It is the brain of computer system. So in order to make our processor much more efficient, we have to place minimum number of pins on it. Now as you can see on the pin diagram, some of the pins are multiplexed. Multiplex means each pin is performing dual function. For example, AD0 to AD14 or RQ/GT. So this oblique or combination is used to reduce the number of pins on it. So total pins are 40, and we have to study each and every pin of 8086 microprocessor, because each pin has its unique functionality. This is the most important topic of our 8086 microprocessor and of first unit. The pin diagram is never asked in the MSBT question paper, but the pin description is asked in every MSBT question paper. They will list out any 2 or 3 pins, and we have to explain the functionality of that pin. So to study the pin description, first we need to know what is the pin diagram of 8086. So the first pins are power supply pins. So total 3 power supply pins are there. As we know already that 8086 is a 16-bit microprocessor, or 8086 is a digital IC. Digital means it works on signal 0 and 1. But the power supply we provide to the computer or laptop or any computing device is in the form of electrical signals. So plus 5 volt will be considered as 1, and 0 volt will be considered as 0, because as it is a digital IC, it works on the principle of clock pulses. Clock pulses are in the form 1 and 0. 1 means plus 5 volts and 0 means 0 volt. But the power supply we give is in the form of normal electric signal, that is in volts. So plus 5 volt will be considered as 1 bit and 0 as 0 bit. So total 3 pins are there, in which there is a power supply pin called as VCC. It is of 5 volts, and 2 ground pins. Ground pins will be 2. Why 2 ground pins? Because 8086 operates in 2 modes, that is minimum mode and maximum mode. So it has given 2 ground pins and 1 VCC pins. So power supply pins are used to give the power to our IC. Next is clock signal. Why the clock signals are needed? Because 8086 is a digital IC, and any digital circuit works on clock pulses. So this voltage which we have provided is converted into clock pulses. So it provides timing to the processor for operations. What the clock pulses gives? It provides the timing to the processor for operations. Its frequency is different for different version. Depending upon the version of 8086 we are using, the frequency of the processor is measured, like 5 megahertz, 8 megahertz and 10 megahertz. The processor which has clock pulses of more frequency, like our recent Pentium processor works on clock pulses of gigahertz. Okay, our Pentium which we are currently using works on clock frequencies of in the form of gigahertz. So the clock signal or the clock pulses are directly proportional to the efficiency or the working speed of our processor. The more the clock signals are given, the more faster will our processor. So the clock signals or the clock pins are used to provide the clock signals. Next are address and data pins. Here we write it in the form of AD0, that is address 0 data 0, to AD15, that is address 0 and data 15. Total number of pins are 16. Now a question may arise that why these pins are combined. In order to reduce the number of pins on the IC, because if we take separate address pins, 16 address pins, and separate 16 data pins, so total sum will be of 32. So 32 pins will be needed for only for address and data. So the number of other pins will also be added. So the total number of pins on IC will increase. So in order to reduce the number of pins, we have combined this address and data on 16 pins. Now by combining, in the first instance or in the first clock cycle, address will be transmitted, and in the next clock cycle data will be transmitted. So this combination is done to reduce the number of pins. So these are 16 address data pins. AD0 to AD7 carries lower order byte data, and AD8 to AD15 carries higher order byte of data. So the total numbers of address pins we have got in 8086 is 20. So 16 we have completed in AD0 to AD15. So 16 address pins are already completed. So remaining are A16 to A19. We are counting from 0. So the total number will be A0 to A19. So A6 to A19 pin is there, in plus there are status pins, that is S3 to S6. A16 to A19 are used to carry the address, and S6, S3 to S6, 3 pins are used to carry the status signals. Next pin is S7 oblique BHE. Now BHE is a active low signal. Now here we should know the difference between the active low signal and active high signal. Active low signal is a signal which activates upon 0 bit or 0 pulse, and active high signal is a signal which gets activated or get fired on high signal bit is 1, low signal bit is 0. So when we provide 0 to a active low signal, it will be activated, and when we provide 1 to a active high input signal, then that pin will be activated. Now how to differentiate between active low and active high signal, or how to identify that whether a pin is active high or active low? So a vertical bar is given on the pin. So BHE bar, basically that signal is BHE bar signal, bus high enables. It is used to enable the higher order bus. Which is the higher order bus? A8 to A15 is our higher order bus. Similarly, S7 is a status pin which is used to give the status. Next one is read bar, RD bar. Now RD bar stands for, what does it depicts or shows? That it is a active low signal. RD bar is a active low signal. So when it will be activated? When the 0 pulse is provided, it will be activated. So what does RD bar signal do? It performs the read operation. It reads from the memory or input output port. Next signal is write signal. Write signal is also active low signal, WR bar. A vertical bar, a vertical line is given, that means it is the active low signal. So write is used to write our data into the memory or input output ports. It is read bar and write bar are used in combination with M oblique IO bar signal. M oblique IO bar signal is a memory oblique input output signal. When we have to perform memory read, so memory, that means M oblique IO bar will be 1, because M is a active high signal, and IO bar means IO bar is a input output bar, that means IO is a low signal. So when will be activated? When we provide 0. So M oblique R bar, IO bar equals to 1, that means memory related operation. If M oblique IO bar is 0, that means it is input output related operation. So M oblique IO bar signal is used in combination with read bar and write bar signal. Read bar is used to read, write bar is used to write. So in order to perform memory read operation, when we need to perform the memory read operation, so which signals will be activated? Memory read. Memory means M equals to 1, because M is a active high signal, and read bar, we have to perform the read operation. Read bar is a active low signal, that means 1 0 will mean memory read operation. Ready signal. Ready signal is used as an acknowledgement. Acknowledgement means when we transmit any request to any Peripheral device. Peripheral device means the devices which are surrounding the microprocessor. So when we transfer any request, how the actions are performed, first we need to send the request, then its reply comes that it is ready, and then we perform the data transmission. So it is used for acknowledgement from input output devices that the data is transferred. It is an active high signal. That means when it will be activated, when ready equals to 1, it will be activated. When it is low, it indicates wait state. When it is 1, it indicates that the data transfer is possible now. Reset pin. As we all know, reset is used to perform the reset operation. It is used to restart the execution. It causes the processor to immediately terminate its present activity. Interrupt pin. It is an interrupt request signal. Interrupt means to temporarily halt the processing. Means for some time, if you want to halt the processing of any task, we can give this interrupt signal. In a computer system, we do this with the help of task manager. Control Alt Delete, when we press, the processor is temporarily halted or stopped. So that kind of signal is called interrupt signal. NMI. NMI is a non-maskable interrupt. It stands for non-maskable interrupt. It is an edge-triggered input which causes an interrupt request to the microprocessor. Now the interrupts we are dealing with, the interrupts are of two types, maskable and non-maskable. We cannot stop a non-maskable interrupt to reach to its destination. That means we cannot make the non-maskable interrupt to wait for some time. But maskable interrupts can be waited, or we can let the maskable interrupts to wait for some time to reach its destination. So it is a NMI pin stands for non-maskable interrupt. Test pin. This signal is like a wait state. When this signal is high, then the processor has to wait for idle state as the execution continues. So it is used to test the microprocessor that whether it is in idle form or it is in execution form. So it is used to test. Min oblique MX bar pin. So 8086 operates in two modes, minimum mode and maximum mode. So MN oblique MX bar pin. MN is an active high signal. When MN oblique MX bar equals to 1, that means minimum mode is in operation. When we have to perform the operation in maximum mode, we have to give Mn oblique Mx bar equals to 0. So 0 means this signal will be activated Mx bar, because Mx bar is a active high signal. So it is used, this pin is used to operate the 8086 microprocessor in either minimum mode or maximum mode. 8086 microprocessor can be operated in a single mode at a time. That means both the modes cannot be activated at the same time. Either the processor will be acting in a minimum mode or it will be performing actions in maximum mode. So it depends upon the user in which state you have to use the microprocessor. INTA bar. INTA bar is again a acknowledge. A stands for acknowledgement. INT signal we have studied. INTR, INTR interrupt, and INTA its acknowledgement. Whenever we give any interrupt, the acknowledgement is sent by the device or the processor. So it is an acknowledgement signal, active low signal. That means when we give 0, that means it is activated. ALE. ALE is the most important pin. It stands for address latch enable. Now what this address latch enable performs, what this pin performs, it is an active high signal. Active high signals means it will be activated when we provide it 1, then the active address latch will be enabled. If we provide 0 to it, address latch will not be enabled. So why this address latch is used? Address latch is used basically to demultiplex the address and data pins. Demultiplexing means separation of address and data pins. So this is done by ALE, address latch enable, active high signal. Next is data enable. When we want to transmit the data, we have to give this signal data enable. Data enable is a active high signal. So we will have to provide 1 to transmit our data. Next thing is data transmission and receiver. Data transmitter or receiver. So it performs dual function. It will either data transmit or it will receive the data. DT is a active high, whereas R is active low. M oblique IO bar, as we have already seen, memory oblique input output bar. When we provide M oblique IO bar equals to 1, that means processor is performing memory related operation. When we perform M oblique IO bar equals to 0, that means processor is performing input output related operation. Hold signal is used to hold the address and the data buses for external devices. Hold acknowledge active low signal. It is used to acknowledge the hold signal. Queue status pins. There are queue status pins. Why we maintain the queue? To perform our execution. To perform the pipelining, the queue status pins are maintained. So when queue status pins are active high signals. So when 00 is provided on QS0 and QS1, that means it is performing no operation. When 01 is provided, it is performing first byte of opcode from the queue. 10, that means the queue is empty. And when the status on the pins is 11, it performs subsequent byte from the queue. So queue status pins are basically used to get the status of the queue. In the architecture we have studied the instruction queue. So we can get the status of that instruction queue with the help of queue status pins. Next pins are status pins. These status pins provide the status of the operation. Queue status pins are used to provide the status of instruction queue, but the simple status pins S1, S0 and S2 are used to provide the status of the current operation. What is the actual status of our currently ongoing operation? That is whether the addition is going to be performed or multiplication or any other logical operation is going to be performed. That status we can get with the help of status pins. So there are different status. So combination of 3 bits are done here. 000 stands for interrupt acknowledgement. That is interrupt acknowledgement is being given. 001 stands for input output read. 010 for input output write. 011 for halt operation. 100 for opcode fetch. So when we get the status as 000, that means what is the current status of our operation? It is been interrupt acknowledged. Similarly, 101 means memory read related operation is going to be performed. 110 means memory write related operation the processor is performing. 111 means the processor is in passive stage or inactive stage. Lock signal or lock ping. When this signal is active, it indicates the other processor not to ask the CPU to leave the system bus. Request grant signals. So this is used to request as well as grant our address and data buses to other processors or co-processors. So here important MSBT related questions are: draw the pin diagram of microprocessor. This question is rarely asked in the exam. Functioning is already asked. So as we have already explained, state the function of ALE and status pins. Status pins means which pin? S0, S1, S2. Q status means QS0 and QS2. So we have to give the function in one line. Function of Q status pins QS0 and QS1. Here we have to draw that truth table. State the functions of hold and hold acknowledgement. Functions of read and write bar pins. Functions means what the read RD bar will perform. So the answer will be it is used to read the data or address. State the functions of request and grant pins. So what we have learned today is the pin diagram of 8086 and the pin description of each pin, that is the functionality of each pin. So thanks for watching the video lecture. In the next topic we will study about the register organization of 8086 microprocessor.